Welcome to the Dump Truck Toolbox. I'm Alan, and today I'm not hauling. I've 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 lost my truck. Okay, let's reboot here. Okay, so welcome to the job search toolbox. Let me tell you what's going on. I was hired to work at a small hauling company. They had 4 trucks. One of them was in the shop being repaired, and they needed a driver to cover that truck. It was a Volvo quad, and so we talked. They hired me. I went into training. They were working away, getting those planned repairs done. The repairs were done first of the month. I was supposed to start full time. My boss picked up the truck from the shop, was taking it back to the yard, and it overheated on the side of the interstate repeatedly. Eventually, the truck gets back to the yard. They bring out a person with expertise in Volvo diagnostics, slap the computer on it, poke around under the hood, and decide they don't know exactly what's wrong, but it's something big. And the next step, unfortunately, is a more thorough diagnosis, which is probably going to require some major disassembly of the engine. They're worried that there may be a cracked head. There's probably almost definitely a blown head gasket, or there's something else wrong with the cooling system that they can't figure out just by tipping the hood back. And so they decided they don't have the money right now to go down this path of an expensive diagnosis and possibly um, even more expensive repairs. So the truck I was supposed to drive is parked, and I'm out of a job. So you see all these hand tools back here, and these were things that I was going to use to illustrate some of the things I was learning as I mastered uh, operating a dump truck. Well, I have other tools. And so one of the tools that I never thought I would share with you is my funnel. It's not a real sexy tool. Um, I use this to gather sort of wild flowing fluid and send it somewhere for a purpose. And that's what I see a job search as. You're gathering a wide range of opportunities at the top of the funnel. You're sort of filtering through them, and you're looking for the opportunity that's right for you. And so here's an animation of how I see it working. Haulers are looking for drivers. Drivers are looking for dump trucks, and opportunities flow in the top. As a dump truck driver looking for a job, you're going to filter through all those opportunities. And a lot of them you're going to just reject. For me, I know what I want to do. I want to drive a dump truck. Can't explain it rationally, but I caught the bug. Because I want to drive a dump truck, I'm ruling out a lot of other things that I could do. I really want to drive a dump truck. I don't want to drive a cement truck. I have no interest in hauling freight. Furthermore, I am specific on geography, like most people are, I think, unless they're willing to relocate. They need a job near them. So I've got to find local opportunities. And I'm also now a little more sensitive to the need to make sure that there's a ride for me. Not that there's a ride coming in the near future, but I really need a place that has a functioning dump truck that I can step into. So opportunities are coming in the top of the funnel, and I'm filtering out a lot of them, and then I decide to apply. Well, I'm not the only one filtering here. The haulers are going to filter out drivers. And so I'm in an interesting place. I have a number of years and probably well over 100,000 miles behind the wheel of a commercial vehicle, uh, but it's mostly been buses. I've had some training driving a dump truck. I thought it was very good training, but there are other people out there with much more dump truck experience. And so if someone says, need to see a minimum of a year, 2 years, 5 years of dump truck experience, they're going to filter me out for better or for worse. And they're going to move on to another candidate. Then if I decide to apply and they decide I'm worth an interview, you then have the interview. And the interview is sort of like the first date. You're looking for a match. You're looking for chemistry. You're saying, can we make beautiful music together? Can we work together and have a mutually beneficial relationship? And so at the interview, during the interview, right after the interview, either side could say, no thanks. Driver could say, nope, nope, not right for me. Or the hauler could say, no, 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 this isn't going to work out. And so lots of things leave the funnel then. This funnel's really quite leaky, unlike my nice funnel here, which does not leak. I mean, if it leaked, I would replace it. The career search funnel stuff's going to be coming out of the sides all the time. And, that's the way it works. Then, if the driver accepts the offer, in most cases, the haulers will be FMCSA regulated, and that means they have to drug test their candidates and before they can offer them a job. And just on a personal note, I spent a long time dealing with drug tests. I was a safety manager at a transit bus company. Loved the company, loved the work. I hated drug testing. I would come home and say, I've spent way too much time today thinking about people peeing in a cup. And so I am happy to not be on the other side of planning and collecting and double checking all the paperwork for drug tests. I'm happy to be on the side of tell me where to go. I'll give you the sample you need, and then we can move on. And then the magic happens on both sides. Come together, and the driver is driving a dump truck for the hauler. Okay, two mistakes that I've made repeatedly in job searches. The first mistake is to not cast my net wide enough, to not use the broadest possible funnel to capture as many opportunities as you can. So for me, I will often rely on friends, and that's a good thing to do. But it may not work if you're making a major career switch. When I went from being, of all things, a professor to a bus driver, my professor friends were not going to help me in any meaningful way find a good job driving a bus. When I went from driving a bus to a dump truck, my bus driving friends, with a few exceptions, didn't have the experience or the insight or the contacts to help me find a dump truck job. Um, so you have to open the funnel wide, and that means cold calls, calling haulers. That's on my list to do later today. It means using online tools. In the past, I used LinkedIn a lot. LinkedIn's sort of more of a professional uh, uh, career engine, and so there's not a whole lot of driving jobs on it. There are a handful though, but I've found Indeed to be very helpful. There are a lot of driving opportunities there. And then my boss at the hauling company suggested Craigslist. And I would have never thought of Craigslist. So that was a very good lead for me. And over the weekend, I found an opportunity on Craigslist and put it in application, and we'll see what comes of it. So don't narrow your funnel down. Make it as wide as you can. Get all the opportunities you can into the top of the funnel. The second mistake I've made numerous times is to fall in love with an opportunity. And you might say, well, what's wrong with that? I mean, you should love where you work, and absolutely you should. but you shouldn't fall in love with an opportunity so much so that it slows down or stops your career search. Even as a seemingly great driving job is making its way down that funnel, and you're like, oh, I've got the interview. Oh, I've got the offer. Oh, I've got the drug test lined up. I would say, and for me, until I'm sitting in the truck of my new employer and I turn the key and the engine turns on, um, then I need to keep pouring stuff in the top of the funnel. I don't care how great the job description looks. I don't care how much my friends say, yeah, that's a great place to work. Uh, it doesn't matter how great the interview was until we make it to the end and I'm actually on board driving a truck for them. I got to keep the funnel moving. I got to pour stuff in the top. I got to keep following up with people. I got to keep making calls and sending emails and sending out my resume and my motor vehicle record and whatever else the employer needs. And so spread your net wide, keep the funnel full, and that's the way to find a job. If you enjoyed today's video, if you found it useful, please click like. You might want to subscribe for two reasons. One is subscriptions really do help other people find this channel, and that helps people who don't know about us actually join the conversation here. But the second reason you may want to subscribe is to find out how this story turns out. And if one day you come back to the channel and I say, I've got a great job, you'll be one of the first to know. Or if you come back to the channel and it says, bus driver toolbox, you'll know what happened. So always a pleasure to join you. Tune in soon. Hopefully I'll have some good news for you. Until then, be safe, and I'll see you soon on the Dump Truck Toolbox.